Hey everybody, this is Steven from PopCultureMaven.com. We're back with this week's new comic book reviews. And as I predicted, it's actually a pretty small week. We're probably for the next, probably through January and probably February, we're going to have probably a fair amount of, smaller weeks, which I think is actually good because it allows you to do a couple things. Pick up your books. It's not so expensive because there's not so many coming out, but also to try new things and buy things at your local comic shop, like maybe trades and hardcovers and stuff like that, where you can kind of catch up on some stuff. So that kind of, for me at least, it makes it easier. But let's get to what we have this week. First up, we have Cobra Commander #1, written by Joshua Williamson, with artwork by Andrea Milana. Let me first say, this is a really weird book, but it's intentionally weird. Joshua Williamson in the back actually, kind of comments like how, kind of weird it is. You're really somewhat going to be confused by this first issue because basically what it is, there's kind of the secret world or place, Cobra Law. And that's where Cobra Commander, kind of comes from. And so you kind of see somewhat of his origin and also how this whole thing ties into the Transformers and then the Void Rivals, the whole Energon universe. We also see Megatron show up, so now we kind of know where he is and how it looks like it's going to fit, because all these books, so there's Transformers, there's Void Rivals, there's Duke, and Cobra Commander, those two miniseries, and how it all ties together. So basically, it's kind of how Cobra Commander kind of came into his own, and how the Transformers fit into this world, sort of. Once again, it's I like the fact that it's weird. I like the fact that it's not just kind of a G.I. Joe comic, and Duke was the same way, and Joshua Williamson wrote that. I actually appreciate the fact that he's definitely taking a very different direction with the characters, instead of just, because there is a regular G.I. Joe book that started at 301. If you want just kind of classic G.I. Joe, that's the book. These are, kind of like Daniel Warren Johnson's Transformers. They're really outside the box thinking about these characters, and I think that's what's amazing. The thing that I don't want to say it's a struggle, but it's going to take a couple more issues to kind of see where Cobra Commander is going to go. I mean, this is all pure setup. It's weird, but it's setup. So we really can't get a handle. I will say, Miliana's artwork is really nice. It's a good looking book. I think there's a lot of great ideas here. It's just that, it's all set up. So you're kind of in that mode. So just know that going, and then it's going to take at least another issue to kind of like feel out where it's, Williamson's going to take this book. But I did like it. I like the fact that it was weird. It was just, just be prepared for that. Next up, we have Wonder Woman #5, written by Tom King, with artwork by Daniel Sampre. And then the backup, World's Finest Story, written by Tom King, with artwork by Belen Ortega. So this issue, still dealing with the ramifications of the Amazons being kicked out of the U.S. So this issue deals with Flora, Cassie, and Donna. They want to help Diana, but she's like, no, I have to do this on my own. And so basically each one is allowed to have a challenge against Diana to see if they can fight with her. That's really there. So also along the same storyline, we see that Sergeant Steele, because he tried to go after Diana with the army, that didn't work out too well. So he's getting a supervillain group together. He's Dr. Psycho, Grail, Angleman, Silver Swan, Circes, and Giganta. And I don't want to really say anymore. I just say that the interesting the competition to help Diana with Cassie, Donna, and Flora is quite interesting and not what you would expect, and that's what I really liked about that. King's really knocking out of the park on this book. I really like, he's going for the long game on this first story arc, which is really good. and he's playing with a lot of key elements of the Wonder Woman universe, which is also good. And he's also, bringing, by bringing in Cassie, Flora, and Donna, it's that kind of like old, new, and newest, kind of in her, hero universe. I really like that. I also like the fact that the villains, because I think Wonder Woman has some great villains. They're not as well known as, like, say Superman and Batman's rogues, or even the Flash. And I hopefully King will kind of play with that in this this issue that we're just introducing them. So there's that. But like I said, I really like this book. It's continues to be a must buy comic. I do want to point out the backup with John, Damian, and Trinity. And it's kind of like her, she's a teenager, and they're kind of somewhat babysitting her. But then this one, they go to Theraschema, and it's a kangaroo race. And even though it's kind of a simple and kind of, it's an okay story, that's what I kind of like about it. It's just more of a slice of life of the three of them kind of hanging out. And at first I'm like, okay, that story was okay. It wasn't quite as, fun and exciting as the previous ones. But, when I kind of thought about it, I actually like the fact that it's more of a slice of life, just them being friends. And that actually, then I'm like, okay, now I know what King's getting after. And then, of course, Ortega's artwork continues to really be nice on that little backup. And I like how it fits into the main story of, that they complement each other. Sometimes the backups have that sort of issue where they don't complement each other. So definitely continue to pick up Wonder Woman. It's really, really good. Next up, Black Hammer: The End, number 5, written by Jeff Lemire, with artwork by Malachi Ward. So, once again, you really have to, know the Black Hammer universe. But to simply sum up this book, it's Jeff Lemire's Crisis on Infinite Earths with the Black Hammer characters. So you have the anti-god, which is, and it plays out. But now, this issue was really interesting because we kind of see the connection between Colonel Weird and the anti-god, and how, they kind of relate to each other. And also we kind of, like Lucy, who has had the Black Hammer, how, she's being tempted with the Black Hammer, with the anti-gods, his Black Hammer, the last Black Hammer. And that was really an interesting part of the story. Now, the next issue wraps this all up. So, I mean, we're speeding to the end, where there's a lot of really great stuff in this book. But once again, you really have to be reading Black Hammer, and you should have been reading Black Hammer. I've been praising Black Hammer books for like years now at this point. I like it, but just, to let you know, it's definitely, you have to kind of know about these characters in this universe. So just remember that. Don't pick it up out of the blue. Start with older Black Hammer stuff. Next up, we have Avengers Twilight, number 1, written by Chip Zdarsky, with artwork by Daniel Acuna. So this takes place in the future. So you have, like, Captain America, Power Man, and Daredevil. They're all older, like, say in their 60s, 70s. And the world has changed, where there was, kind of a setup to the superheroes, where they, there was like a big, kind of like an, like atomic bomb going off in Manhattan type thing, but with superheroes. So they were blamed for a lot of stuff. And now superheroes are not really, not that they've been banned, but they're not really around, because technology has taken over, and there's, it's kind of a, there's curfews and stuff, so it's kind of a state controlled, federal controlled environment. And so so Power Man actually kind of has this underground thing going to basically kind of bring the heroes back. And so, because Steve has lost the super serum power, so he's just kind of a normal guy. And so so Power Man offers him, hey, I can bring you back as Captain America with the super serum because it works on you. And so that's kind of the setup here. It's really interesting. I really liked You know, how it kind of starts off as like, you know, the old fart, you know, oh, superheroes, you know, retired and we'll just, you know, go sit on a bench in the park, you know, kind of thing. But there's kind of like that underground rebel sort of thing going on, which is really, really cool. I really dug that. I like the setup here. I think it's, you know, it's kind of a what if type story, which is always, those are always fun because you can pretty much do whatever you want, and Zdarsky does that here. Kuna's artwork is really nice. It's a really pretty book. I definitely, it's well worth checking out. I really enjoyed it, and you know, it's very new reader friendly, which is also a big plus. Next up are Bones Dust, number 2, written and drawn by Ben Steinbeck. So this is a post-apocalyptic tale, and what it is he, you know, pretty much what's left of the human race is you know, have turned into cannibals for the most part because there's not really much food, but there's this AI Addis that is you know, kind of somewhat is befriending this kid, and so this gang of cannibals is hunting him because he stole stuff from them, but also he comes across this kind of corporate monster which we saw in the first issue, and you know, it you know, Addis tries to explain that it, like, dude, you know, the corporations are gone and everything, but it's got this programming that it, you know, basically it's now killing humans and using their skin as like a cover, like a coat. That's just really weird. It's, the whole thing's really weird, but it totally makes sense when you read it. Like I said, I think I like the fact that it's post-apocalyptic, and you know, there's not a lack of those books, but I like the angle that Steinbeck is taking here. And you know, it's well worth checking out, and the artwork is really fantastic. And this issue kind of changes things up with Addis and the kid and everything, and it just kind of gets deeper into the story, and I really like it. It's well worth checking out. I liked it. Next up, we have Superman Lost, number 10, written by Christopher Priest, with artwork by Carlo Paglian and Jose Luis with pencils, and then inks by Jason Paz, Joe Prado, Julio Ferreira, and Jonas Trindade doing the inks. So this is the final issue. So Hope, the Green Lantern that Superman had come across in the world, she's found Earth and she's pregnant. So you know, now it's like, well, is Superman the baby daddy? But we do find out that that they did not, you know, they did not bump uglies. She actually took a strand of hair out of a brush, and you know, that she used that DNA. So I don't want to spoil it, but yeah, the Lois is not really happy that Superman may or may not be the baby daddy. But I think what's really interesting is how Priest really wraps up this whole series, and you kind of find out that Hope, even though that's the name of the Green Lantern, really that's kind of what the story is. It's about hope, and it's about you know, characters and stuff like that, and how, you know, Superman has been changed, and how he's kind of like, you know, having struggles coming back to the real world. You know, he's been going to a psychiatrist. I really like this book. I think, you know, it was definitely like outside the box Superman storytelling, which is always a big plus, I think. And the artwork by Paglian has been really fantastic throughout. It's really been a great read, and it'll be really nice when it's all 10 issues are collected. Because I think a lot of people have really missed you know, checking out this book, and it's one of the really best Superman stories I've read in a really quite a long time. So definitely check out when the trade of this comes out. It's well worth picking up. Next up, we have Fantastic Four, number 16, written by Ryan North, with artwork by Francisco Martorino. So this issue, so all the kids are back. The Baxter Building has come back, but they're no longer in New York because I don't think they're particularly welcome. So they're now living in Arizona. So this issue focuses on the kids because all the kids are back. So we have, you know, Franklin and Valeria, you know, Franklin's son, the son of Reed and Sue, and then Valeria is Dr. Doom's daughter. And then Joe and Nikki, the younger two aliens, she's a Skrull, and he's a Kree. And so what it is, it's really about them going to school. And so Valeria and Franklin get this assignment in science to kind of discover the things that aren't discoverable, like different things. And so they end up uh, making this stuff that like eats through everything. And so they have to like try to, because it starts eating through the house and then going down, and they're like, it goes to the earth, and then the magma is going to come up and we're all screwed. And so they have to like, they don't tell the parents what's going on. And it's just really a fun issue. And I think what I love about this issue really sums up what I really love about what North is doing with the book. It's all about the characters. It's not about these big battles. It's not about, just another superhero book. It's about, once again, Fantastic Four has always been about family. And this issue really, is kind of what that's about. And it's just fun and it's charming. Murderino's artwork is really, really nice. I really love this book. I know a lot of people have been, tough on it because they just want Fantastic Four, beating up, Doctor Doom every issue. And that's not what North is doing with this book. And I mean, he's had, there has been superhero action, but it's so much more than that. And he really has captured what the really the heart of Fantastic Four is, which is family. And really, I mean, this issue, you can pretty much, this is a kind of standalone issue, and you can kind of pick it up and kind of get a feel of what North is doing. So if you've been missing out, read this issue, and this will kind of give you a good idea of what North is doing with his book. So continue to check it out. I really like this book. Next up, we have Operation Sunshine, #4, written by Henry Zabowski and Marcus Parks, with artwork by David Rubin. So long story short, so you have original vampires, OG vampires, and then the people that are turned are bugs. And so really, what this is about is Anwar is getting a group together of basically bugs. And what we kind of have found out through the issues is that there is, kind of the king of the vampires. And what we find out this issue is that he was defeated by another vampire, but there's a stone that if they are able to get the stone, they will be able to destroy the OG vampires, and all the bugs will turn to humans. So kind of like getting rid of the plague that has, pretty much, because vampires are pretty prevalent, because of the bugs and everything. So that's really what this issue we kind of learned. This is one of those books that's kind of like, it's going to work really well sitting down and reading in one shot. I really like it, but it's kind of tough reading it in chunks. So on that, I would definitely wait until, it kind of comes out in the trade, because I think it's just, some books are like that, where you just kind of really, it works well reading in one shot. So, definitely, I'm digging the book. Of course, the big win for me is, David Rubin's artwork. He's just really fantastic. And I like the story that Zabarsky and Parks is doing. It's really, deep and everything, but like I said, it's just tough as a monthly book. Next up, we have Nightwing #110, written by Tom Taylor, with artwork by Sammy Bassari. So now this is a Beast Wars tie-in, so it's kind of a standalone issue. I'll be honest, it's not necessarily one of my favorites, but it's an okay story. I'm not really into the whole Beast War. I just don't think it really needed right now. But anyways, we'll set that aside. So basically what it is Damien has been, possessed. He's turned into like a cat. And so Dick and John go to rescue him. And what they do is they discover there's this kind of Beast Wars fight club that Damien has been involved in. And so that's really the crux of this story. And like I said, it was okay. It's not one of the better Nightwing stories, but it's okay. Basari's artwork's nice and everything. It's just kind of it's a tie-in, but it is kind of a standalone issue. But like I said, it's more of a hiccup at this point. So hopefully the next issue will kind of get back to our regularly scheduled Nightwing stories. But it was okay. Just didn't really wasn't necessarily my favorite book Nightwing story that Taylor's written. Next up, we have the Deviant #3, written by James Tynion IV, with artwork by Joshua Hickson. So this issue, because we know that. So first of all, that Elmer has been, convicted of these murders of these two boys. So this issue kind of has a past and present. There's a lot of like time jumping. So it starts off with Derek. That's Michael's boyfriend, who's writing this comic about this Santa serial killer from back in the day. And so Derek's at work. He's a nurse, and his friend is, he's kind of not evaluating Michael. It's just like, kind of trying to, he struggled with being a partner in life. That's really what the first part of the story. Then Paul, who was the cop who was attacked by the Santa monster. We kind of go into his backstory of after it's kind of the post him getting attacked by the monster, how he goes to Elmer's house and discovers that, he blames him, because he was gay. And so we've discovered in even the last issue that Paul's quite the homophobe. And, but, really this kind of solidifies, he was just out to, like blame Elmer, that like, it's him. I know it's him. And so it's really interesting but we still, and there's these new murders. So apparently this Santa Claus creature is still roaming around. So there's kind of that going on. I like what, Tynion is doing here. I like that, the time jumps, because the good thing is Hickson's really good about, like visually putting you in there so you don't feel like you're lost or anything. That's always a plus. I'm really digging this book. It's a really good horror book, and Hickson really brings it all to life. Yeah, I love the style that he's, his artwork really just captures the feel of this book. It's really well worth checking out. I really like it. And finally this week we have Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong, #4, written by Brian Buccellato, with artwork by Christian Deuce and Tom Denerick. So this is just continuing. Godzilla's taken out Superman. He may be dead, but he probably is not. But he's like in a super coma. And so this issue really so we have a couple things going on. Really, there's an attack on Atlantis by a monster. Godzilla comes in, and then Aquaman's like, oh crap, and he releases the Kraken. So we'll see how that turns out. But we also kind of have a thing with where Supergirl and Green Arrow are on Skull Island, and kind of dealing with Kong. And Kong's, once again, kind of the smarter. He's definitely much smarter than Godzilla. Godzilla's like, I'm just gonna step on the city and kill it. So that's kind of an interesting thing going on Skull Island. There's a lot of plate spinning with this kind of book that Buccellato's doing. There's a lot going on, and it kind of jumps around. Not that I ever got lost or anything. There's just a lot going on. And Deuce and Denerick's artwork is really nice. It's a good looking book. I think it's going to be the one of those books that I know Ryan at the comic shop's had a tough time keeping it in stock. I think it's going to be one of those, if at this point, if you haven't been able to get the first few issues, just wait. There'll be a trade or hardcover of it when it's finished. And I think, that'll be good for a lot of people. But overall, it's a fun book. It's a nice little crossover. It's nice having the Justice League together again, since we don't have a Justice League book right now. And you put Godzilla and King Kong in it, you're just like, well, you got the three of them. It's kind of a win. So it's a fun little book. It takes place in its own little bubble, and I like that. So that's it this week. Very, very small week. As always, public service announcement. I get all my comics at Pulp Fiction Comics, Long Beach, California. Ryan Skinner is the owner. It runs a great store. There's Annie, Wendy, and Derek. Check out their socials. They have a group on Facebook. They do the Wednesday walkthrough, talk about new books and stuff and what's going on at the store. So definitely check it out if you're in the Long Beach area. Definitely check it out. It's a really good comic store, and they have a great pull service, so you don't miss any books. They offer discounts on trades and graphic novels every day. They have a nice manga selection, a good kids and young adult section. It's a really good store, well worth checking out. But no matter where you live, definitely support your local comic shop. I know you can get a lot of stuff online, but supporting your local comic shop, because I know times are really tough. I've seen a number of stores having to do like GoFundMe's to kind of help them float the boat. But definitely, if you order stuff, make sure you pick it up on a timely basis. That will help your store more than anything. But definitely support your local comic shop. They're the real backbone of the industry. And as always, we end our show with be kind. Be kind to each other. And be kind to yourself. Taking care of yourself is very important, but being kind to others is also very important. Just do the simple things. Being kind doesn't cost anything, and it's good for you, and it's good for everyone. So be kind to yourself and be kind to others. That's going to do it this week. As always, please like and share the videos. Comments are welcome. Also subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is definitely appreciated. We've had a number of new joiners. So thanks for subscribing, and hopefully you continue to like it. And like I said, if you got any comments, let me know. But that's going to do it this week. We'll be back again next week. Thanks for watching. This is Steven from PopCultureMaven.com signing off. Have a good week, folks. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.